The waterside area has been inhabited for at least 1,000 years, and it's where Saltash's history began. As the ancient rhyme states, Saltash was a borough town when Plymouth was a fuzzy down. Saltash was a thriving community where many earned their living. Tamar Street, or to give it its nickname, Pickle Cockle Alley, was famous for buying local fish. It was demolished to make way for modern flats, but some landmarks still remain. Saltash has many characters, and we asked some of them to recall days gone by.
It was sacrilege when they knocked down Tamar Street, because I mean it's so unique and.
See, you had
DeBar had that.
DeBar done it when he come here. He was the one.
Quite unique, and you know, little cottage each side.
Cottage each side of the road.
Well, personally for myself, I wish the bridge hadn't been built, because I think with the ferry and everything, we were all such a close-knit community, and now we've got that bridge where people come whizzing in. And to me, I know people are supposed to have brought business and everything to the town. I wonder if it has, and with the industrial site and everything. But I wish personally that the bridge had been built further up the river, if it had to be a bridge built at all. And I must be quite honest, I still miss the ferry.
Well, everything went on the ferry then.
Oh, everything went on the ferry, on market days and everything. Over there.
I mean, there's horses and carts.
Horses and carts. Well, that's one no transport them with them.
No.
I mean, this is it.
All the market lorries. Horses and carts coming in with produce in the morning.
That's right, Catch your first ferry, go to Dunport Market. Drive a cattle down over Station Hill through Tamar Street. If a ferry was gone, they used to boat and swim across the bloody river.
Oh, yeah. Market day, you had to keep a gate shut.
I've seen them jump out over the gate.
That's right.
Yeah. They always had a ferry boat alongside the ferry then.
Yes.
If any animals broke away, they used to jump in a boat and scully after them.
That's like put on in their arms and pull them in.
Put a rope around his horns and pull them in.
When I was the tender age of 70, I had the opportunity to climb the Royal Albert Bridge. The photographer who went with me didn't like heights, so I had to go up the vertical ladder straight up. And first of all, we crawled in the doorway into the tubes. And it was wonderful inside. It's as Brunel built it. It's quite wide. It's about 16 feet wide, 12 feet high, something like that. And we walked along, it's sort of circular, of course, and we walked along to the centre of the bridge inside. You could almost have a dinner party inside, it was so big. So after crawling in on hands and knees, came out again and went up on the top of the bridge. So I lent one of the men my camera and he took that photograph on the top.
It was a great honour to be the mayor, and when I first came there, I hadn't been in the council very long, and it was a great honour, and I was very privileged at that time to have met the Duke of York, and I was told what I had to do and didn't have to do, and when he arrived, I said, "Hello, my handsome," and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to say Your Highness." But he did laugh. In fact, I've got lovely pictures of us, if somebody took of us around when he came to open Greenwich Place, and he's roaring with laughing. I had a fantastic time. And in fact, in talking to him, I said, "I'm going to see your mother on Thursday." And I said, "I'm supposed to say Her Majesty." He said, "She is my mother." Oh.
But the Royal Albert Bridge celebrations in 1959 The whole of 4th Street, I've never seen so many people for a week packing 4th Street. We had celebrations every day. It was May 1959, and we had all sorts of things going on that week. And it ended with a dance at the Guildhall. We had a special committee, and I composed a piece of music for that occasion called the Royal Albert Bridge Centenary Polka. And 2 of us danced it in the Guildhall at the Young People's Dance on the Saturday night.
I took the scholarship, and I know that I went to the grammar school September the 3rd, I think it's September the 3rd, because Joan Nichols told me not so very long ago, in 1938. I passed the scholarship with a special place. I've got the book there now as a prize I had.
Oh, you're very proud of yourself.
Of course.
Oh, yes,
Well, it's much better because my brother never passed the scholarship. They had to pay for him to go to the school.
Yeah.
But I went for nothing.
Oh, God.
There's no aggro, no trouble at all.
No.
You get the boys will all be going home after, 11 o'clock or so.
Well, you weren't seeing no punch-ups or anything like that then?
No.
And now they're knifing them and punching them out and all
Oh,
that
they all
sort.
be going home singing. Boris Lemon and Timmerton and all come into the country.
Well, they all usually come in to go to the pictures, didn't they? And
That's
play,
right.
play snooker underneath the cinema.
That's right, there's three
Tables, yeah, and Bill Glambos. Star all.
I used to live across the river at St Budo. My parents came over just before the war. And the population then was 7,000. Now it's nearly 17,000. Quite a lot. And Saltash then, without the Tamar Bridge, you knew everybody in the town. You walked up the street on a Saturday or any day and you knew everybody. But now you don't know half the people. So a lot of them just work here and sleep here, and that's it. Or they work in Plymouth, travel to and fro on the train or the buses or cars. But in those days, it was, I think, 6 months' return to go to Plymouth on the train. And there were 60 trains a day stopping at Saltash. Now I think we get 6, if we're lucky. And of course there were no buses to Plymouth, but a bus used to meet the train at the station.
And with the lovely train service that we used to have with the little motor trains going into Saltash, I mean the children used to, if that went to school in Plymouth, they would catch the trains, the dockyardies, and I can remember myself taking my son over 50 years ago in the pram, going on the little motor train and going on to Plymouth and do, if you wanted to go in there to get anything special. But I'm all for shopping in Saltash.
We had enough shops here, you didn't need to go to Plymouth. You had shops of every description. I don't remember shopping in Plymouth very often. And the Blitz, well, the whole of one side of the street was damaged.
Well, you had Nurse Thomas's shop, you had McDermott's shop. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And you had a house out on the pier there where Arthur Pano used to live. He used to work on the ferry.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the street was narrow, just
That's it.
get a horse and cart through.
Yeah.
And at the end, there went from the pub right across the road.
That's right. You had the
Archway.
And I would say that I could have been no more than about 3 or so when I was taught to make pasties. And they were always done on a Saturday, and also saffron buns. And I used to have a pram with a dog that I used to put in the pram, more than a dolly, it was always a dog. And I would be sent into the village to various widow ladies to be given them some saffron buns.
Of course, right through the war, we served in the Royal Observer Corps.
Observer Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah, up where the library is. Where the surgery is, that's where you had your headquarters there, wasn't it? Up Longstone.
Longstone, yeah.
That's right, yeah. I remember that.
I marched in the Victory Parade around London after the war. I represented Cornwall.
That's right.
Then in December 44 I left school to start my first job on January the 1st. People worked on January 1st in those days. And I started as an assistant in W.H. Smith and Son on Mutley Plain. And I remember one lady came in, and I thought, who's this old lady? She came in chewing gum. I stepped forward, can I help you? Oh, I'd like to speak to an older assistant, she said. And I stood back and the older assistant took over, and after she'd gone out, the older assistant said to me, do you know who that was? No, I said, I'm sorry, I don't. Well, that was Lady Astor. So I can say among my first customers was Lady Astor.
Victoria Gardens, Windsor Terrace, there's not a house until high school St Stephen's Primary School. There's no houses at all. There's all fields there. And Clap used to keep his pony up
Yeah,
there.
it's out Clap, that's right. Bill Clap.
It's Windmill Hill now.
Windmill Hill, that's right. Remember, well, there used to be a purple pitching behind her, didn't he? Essel used to be in the end of Windsor Lane.
Yeah.
Well, my father was born in the house where I was born, and his father and that they came here. His grandfather put his two sons in the business here in the tannery in just 1843-45, I think it was, because the man, Mr. Adams, who had it built, as soon as he had it built, he went bankrupt. And my great-grandparents were tanners down in Grampound Road. There's still a tannery down in Grampound Road, Groggins, yes.
Huh?
And he put his two unmarried sons here in the business, in the house, with a housekeeper to run the business. And from I think it was from about 1846 that they ran the business. And the one of the Nancarrows used to go to church, and he met Flora Batten, who were farmers up at by St Stephen's Farm. And in 1877, my grandfather married Flora Batten.
Well, I failed to go in the services because I lost my eye. I got shot rabbiting when I was 14-year-old. And all I could see was a blur. I couldn't pick it out visually. And then in the end, in 1950, I got married. I was going to South Africa for 2.5 years commission on the Bermuda. I never got there. I went and had the jabs and that there on a Monday, or made arrangements in the barracks. And so I come off HMS Illustrious to go there. I've done 2.5 years in the Navy, or 10 years in the Navy. I ended up canteen manager. And then I played football against Saltash, and I had my eye kicked out then. And I've only had one eye ever since 1950. I got artificial eye, and that's it.
These are just a few memories of Saltash people and places. There are many more stories to tell, but we'll leave those for another time.